Hey guys, been a little bit. We have quite a few updates. So the next couple devlogs, I'm going to take the time, and a lot of advancements have been made on the front of the whole attachment system. Some things have kind of stayed the same. Some things have drastically changed since the last time you guys saw the update. So we're going to take the next couple devlogs and go through some different areas of the attachments. We're going to keep these nice and short, but we're going to kind of take you guys through the latest. So let's just jump right in. All right, so we have a basic level set up here. You'll see in the distance there's some containers which have attached various attachments aside. These are the tech containers you'd find in the world. There's also some 9mm impact cannon attachments here, and there's also an exo spawner which will allow me to kind of demo this first portion. Again, there's going to be kind of multiple devlogs here. This first one's going to just catch any new people up on kind of the attachment interface in general, in terms of a control bot and the larger exoskeletons they can possess. So in Avant-Garde, players take the role of a control bot, and this is basically the CPU, right, in small bot form. So if I go ahead and run this, you'll see there's two types of control bots. There's a crab bot, and there's also a ball bot. So if I select a crab bot, you'll see, you know, this is the form. So this bot, this little control bot, can interface with many things in the world, right? Panels and interface with, you know, elements to manipulate the world, but it also can interface with larger exoskeletons. So larger exoskeletons don't have a brain themselves. They're just kind of like a frame for these smaller bots to kind of be offensive, so to speak. So in this particular example, I have a control bot here, you'll see, and if I open up the loadout menu, you'll notice that on the left hand side there's a loadout summary. On the right hand side you have kind of the inventory, right? So there's a couple support slots here. There's some modification attachment slots. So as you pick up these things, you can, in the world, for defeating enemies or from containers or loot, you can then assign them to your loadout. So the control bot themselves don't have gear attachment slots, which in gears are essentially these attachments you see in front of you, such as this 9mm impact cannon. So weapons. So the control bots, while they can have cool stuff like a quantum shift support attachment where they can like cloak themselves, or they can shift ahead like a blink in games, fantasy games. This is more kind of like a nano, you know, teleportation. There's no, while they can have attachments like that, there's not any actual gear slots for them to attach weapons to. So that is why players come over and they attach themselves to larger exoskeletons, such as this spider exoskeleton. So now that I've attached myself to it, I'm going to go ahead and to possess it. I'm going to go ahead and open up the loadout menu, and you'll see there is a much larger interface. So if I come over here, you'll see, I'm going to actually detach these real quick. I'm actually going to go to full screen here because right now my video is hiding some of the bottom bar. There we go. So you'll see there are gear slots. You'll see there are armor slots. And armor is something that we're still working on how that's actually going to come to fruition. For right now, there's like armor panels you can attach to the outside of the exoskeleton, you know, and there's, you know, ballistic protection or you know, projectile protection. But this particular spider exo also has additional support slots and modification slots. But you'll notice it also has the control bot slots as well, so you don't lose the advantages of whatever's in those slots. It's just it's a appended, right? It's appended as part of the loadout. So as you assign different attachments over here, you'll notice in your loadout summary this essentially changes. So if I add these weapons back in, you'll notice my damage is going up. So my overall loadout damage is over 1100. My DPS, the DPS is 1100, so to speak. and that's low end 600 to you know just above 1,000. So your loadout will change as you kind of you're adding and taking away these different attachments. So health, again, armor, there's battery, so every time you use that attachment, you know, it takes away battery from your main battery. There's a weight system too, so bigger attachments are obviously heavier, and there are repercussions for, you know, weighing yourself down too much. It also affects things like speed, the walk, the boost, your recovery, your repair and your recharge, which is essentially how quickly you repair your health and how quickly you recharge your battery. The other thing I want to point out in this segment is you'll see down here, these are essentially the fire group. So if you've ever played Mech Warriors, you know you can basically assign different weapons, because it's not just, you know, 3 weapons. Some of our larger exoskeletons, for instance, they have like 8 or 9 or 10 gear slots, right? So the idea is that to make loadouts really flexible, not only are attachments unique themselves, which we'll get into all that. No 2 attachments will ever be the same, even the same type. So even in terms of Spitfire rockets, for instance, no 2 Spitfire rocket attachments will ever be exactly the same. So not only is that a factor in kind of the massive customization of loadouts, the firing groups are also a factor. So whether you assign, for instance, all three of your particular gear attachments to one firing group, in this case it's the left mouse button. So if I open this up and I test this out, all 3 of my attachments are firing with my left mouse button. You'll notice the battery is obviously going down much faster too, because I'm using battery for all three of those attachments. So that's kind of the drawback, right? You're firing all of these attachments under one firing group, but you know, depending on, you may want to have like short range weapons for one firing group, long range weapons for another firing group, or maybe it's based on battery usage, heavier battery usage, you want a different firing group. So there's all sorts of ways you can kind of pick and pull this apart to kind of optimize how you use your loadout. So, but you do have that option. So these, you can assign, for instance, all 3 of these attachments to different firing groups. So if I come back out, left mouse button fires one, right mouse button fires the next one, middle mouse button fires the 3rd attachment. So that's firing groups. Just keep that in mind as you kind of think about loadouts going forward. You can assign and mix and match these different attachments in different ways and in different firing groups. I think that's it. That's all I'm going to go over for kind of this initial kind of recap here. Just wanted to go through, you know, the loadout summaries. The idea here is that there's so much variation with loadouts that this is going to be really something for generalists in terms of flexibility. A lot of generalists, stat freaks, stat nerds like myself could really kind of get in here, and it's not, you know, you could eke out extra, you know, DPS or a battery optimization. So there's a lot of actual numbers and data and stats to be able to kind of make loadouts really unique. But at the same time, it's not going to be so much so that casuals can't kind of play along with it too, right? The extra data, the amount of data we're giving the players basically in these loadout summaries just gives a little bit, gives the people that are really want to kind of micromanage their loadouts, gives them that ability as well. You can even see over here, we break out the firing groups, so you can actually see like the DPS for firing group 1 versus firing group 2, firing group 3. So again, this is a kind of a prototype loadout screen, but the data is there essentially. Another consideration people might want to do, again, short range. So we also have like the drainage per firing group, the battery drain, and the range per firing group also showing just to so you can actually see very quickly, and if you're sharing loadouts with others, they can see how you're basically building your loadout. So that's it. I think that's all I'm going to go through on this first. I just wanted to recap how loadouts work, how they mix with each other, how control bots loadouts work in terms of how, like, when you integrate with an exoskeleton, how those kind of come together, and firing groups. So there's a little bit different. This whole interface is new to everybody, so that should be a good initial look. We're going to get into how the actual attachments differ in work and the stats and why things are truly, every attachment is truly unique in the upcoming devlog. So until then, hope you guys found this informative, and we'll talk soon.